Antarctica. To the average person, it is nothing more than a frozen wasteland. But what if I told you that Antarctica is not just another continent? What if I told you that this place, this silent, icy desert, is the most forbidden land on Earth, and perhaps the greatest key to understanding our true history? Think about it for a moment. Every corner of the Earth has been mapped, fought over, conquered, and exploited. Empires rose and fell trying to control land, resources, and power. But Antarctica is different. It is the only continent that belongs to no one. The only land mass where governments have agreed, almost miraculously, to share, to forbid colonization, to ban military occupation, and to block industrial exploitation. Why would nations that fight over oil, water, and territory suddenly agree to leave the richest land mass on Earth untouched? Beneath Antarctica's ice are vast reserves of coal, oil, natural gas, even rare minerals that the world is running out of. Yet it is all strictly off-limits. The Antarctic Treaty of 1959 makes sure of that. More than 50 countries signed it. The United States and the Soviet Union, bitter enemies during the Cold War, agreed on it without hesitation. And that should make you pause, because if history teaches us anything, it is this: nations never agree to leave wealth on the table unless there's something more important to protect. Something too dangerous or too world-changing to reveal. For centuries, legends hinted at a great land at the bottom of the world. Ancient maps like the Piri-Reis map, drawn in 1513, appear to show Antarctica's coastlines with shocking accuracy without the ice. But here's the catch. Official science says Antarctica has been buried under ice for millions of years. So how could cartographers half a millennium ago know what it looked like beneath the frozen shield? Coincidence? Or evidence of an ancient civilization that mapped Antarctica long before modern history began? Science admits Antarctica was once green. Evidence shows that 90 million years ago, it was a rainforest. Rivers flowed, mountains rose, and strange creatures roamed. Could it also have been home to people? Did an ancient civilization thrive there, only to be wiped away when the Great Ice Age arrived? This is where history meets mystery, because when you follow the trail of strange events surrounding Antarctica, you begin to realize that something is not right. Take Nazi Germany's Antarctic expedition in 1938. The Nazis sailed south, dropped flags from planes, and claimed a vast section of the continent as New Schwabenland. After the war, rumors spread like wildfire had they discovered something hidden under the ice. Stories of secret bases, hidden technologies, and encounters with strange phenomena began to circulate. Then came Operation High Jump in 1946. The United States sent the largest military expedition in Antarctic history. 4,000 troops, warships, submarines, aircraft, led by Admiral Richard Byrd. Officially, it was a research mission. But why send such a massive force for research? And why did the mission end abruptly, months earlier than planned? Admiral Byrd himself gave cryptic interviews afterward, speaking of a new enemy that could fly from pole to pole at incredible speeds. What did he see out there? What forced the operation to retreat? After that moment, Antarctica changed forever. It became a continent of secrecy. Restricted zones were declared. The Antarctic Treaty was signed. And since then, every nation on Earth has played by the same rules, hands off. Antarctica is the most controlled, most secretive land on Earth. And wherever there is secrecy, there is a reason. What if the real story of humanity is not written in the deserts of Egypt or the ruins of Mesopotamia, but buried under 2 miles of Antarctic ice? What if this frozen continent holds the remains of a lost world, one that could rewrite everything we think we know about history, science, and even our place in the universe? This is the mystery of Antarctica. For most of human history, Antarctica was nothing more than a blank space at the edge of the map, an idea rather than a place. A land whispered about by philosophers, sketched by mapmakers, and dreamt of by sailors who never saw it. The Greeks called it Antarcticus, the opposite of the Arctic. A hypothetical landmass that must exist in the south, they believed, to balance the known continents in the north. To them, Earth was symmetry. If there was land at the top, there had to be land at the bottom. For centuries, this terra australis incognita, the unknown southern land, lived in imagination, in myth, in speculation. But the idea never went away. By the 16th and 17th centuries, European explorers had already sailed across every ocean, charting coastlines and rewriting maps. Yet, at the very bottom of the world, there was still a vast emptiness. Something was there, something that refused to reveal itself. It wasn't until 1820 that the first confirmed sighting of Antarctica took place, when Russian explorers Fabian Gottlieb von Bellingshausen and Mikhail Lazarev glimpsed its frozen coast. They were followed by British and American expeditions, each battling the violent seas, drifting icebergs, and deadly cold to reach a land that seemed to reject human presence. But what they saw there was unlike anything on Earth. A continent twice the size of Australia, covered almost entirely in ice, with mountains taller than the Alps buried beneath its frozen crust, and valleys that had never felt the warmth of the sun. Antarctica was not just a piece of land, it was a fortress made of ice. And from the beginning, it carried with it a sense of secrecy, as though nature itself was protecting something ancient. Before Antarctica was officially discovered, some maps from centuries earlier seem to already show it. One of the most famous is the Piri-Reis map, drawn in 1513 by an Ottoman admiral. On it, alongside Africa, Europe and South America, appears a southern landmass that looks strikingly like Antarctica, without ice. Mountains, rivers and coastlines are clearly depicted, as though the mapmaker had access to knowledge far older than the age of exploration. How could this be? Antarctica was not discovered until 300 years later, and its coastline has been buried under miles of ice for over 10,000 years. Some historians dismiss the Piri-Reis map as coincidence or a mistake in copying older charts. But others suggest it hints at something more disturbing, that long before recorded history, a civilization had mapped Antarctica when it was still free of ice. If that is true, then Antarctica is not just the last frontier of exploration, it is the last witness to a forgotten chapter of Earth's story. Today, we think of Antarctica as barren, lifeless, and inhospitable, and in many ways it is. Temperatures there can drop to -90 degrees Celsius, cold enough to freeze human flesh in minutes. Winds roar across the plains at hurricane speeds, and for months at a time, the continent is drowned in total darkness. No permanent human settlements exist, no nation owns it, no one truly lives there. And yet, life does exist. Emperor penguins huddle in the blizzards, seals slip beneath the ice into black waters, tiny microbes cling to survival in subglacial lakes, untouched for millions of years. But beneath the surface, under miles of ice, scientists have found something even more extraordinary. Radar scans of the continent have revealed vast mountain ranges, rivers, and freshwater lakes sealed away in darkness. One of them, Lake Vostok, lies buried under nearly 4 kilometers of ice. It has been cut off from the rest of the world for more than 15 million years. When Russian scientists drilled down and retrieved samples, what they found shocked them. Living organisms that had never been seen before, bacteria that were completely unique, unlike anything else on Earth. Life that had evolved in total isolation, sealed away since before humanity even existed. If life could survive there, in a frozen tomb beneath the Antarctic ice, then perhaps life could survive anywhere, in the deep oceans of Europa, in the icy plains of Enceladus, even in the frozen deserts of Mars. Antarctica was not dead, it was alive. After World War II, Antarctica suddenly became a place of great interest, not just to scientists, but to militaries. In 1946, the United States launched one of the largest expeditions ever sent to the continent. It was called Operation High Jump, led by Rear Admiral Richard E. Byrd. The mission involved 13 ships, 33 aircraft, and over 4,000 military personnel. Officially, its purpose was to train for cold weather warfare and to establish an American presence in Antarctica. but many believe there was more to it. Admiral Byrd himself had already been to Antarctica before. In the 1930s, he conducted flights over the South Pole and set up bases on the continent. But now the scale was different. Operation High Jump looked less like an exploration and more like a military campaign. Rumors spread that the expedition was not just about research, that it was a search or even a confrontation. Some said the Nazis had established secret bases in Antarctica during the war, fleeing there with advanced technology after Germany's defeat. Some even claimed UFOs had been sighted over the icy skies. When the operation ended abruptly, months earlier than planned, speculation exploded. Admiral Byrd gave an interview in 1947 where he made a chilling statement: "The greatest danger for our future is that the United States could be attacked by an enemy that has the ability to fly from pole to pole at incredible speed." What had Byrd seen in Antarctica? What had forced him to cut short the largest Antarctic mission ever launched? The records remain classified. The answers never made public. There is another reason why Antarctica inspires endless speculation. Unlike any other continent, it is completely off-limits to normal exploration. In 1959, 12 nations signed the Antarctic Treaty, agreeing that the continent would be used only for peaceful scientific purposes. No mining, no military bases, no territorial claims, no exploitation. Today, more than 50 countries are part of the treaty. On the surface, it seems like a triumph of international cooperation. But some ask why. Antarctica is the only place on Earth where nations agreed to stop competing, to stop claiming, to stop claiming, to stop exploiting. Why lock away an entire continent? Why prevent anyone from digging beneath the ice? What is it that the world is not ready to uncover? Antarctica is a place of contradictions. It is both the most remote place on Earth and one of the most heavily guarded. It is a desert of ice, yet it holds 70% of the planet's fresh water. It is a land without people, yet it is the subject of countless myths, conspiracies, and legends. For some, it is simply nature's last frontier, an untouched wilderness where science can glimpse the past and imagine the future. For others, it is a vault, a frozen archive, a place where Earth's true history is locked away, sealed beneath kilometers of ice. And the more we learn about Antarctica, the more questions emerge. Did ancient civilizations once walk its green valleys before the ice came? Did explorers from forgotten ages map its coastlines? Is it hiding evidence of lost worlds, of unknown species, or of technologies beyond our imagination? In Antarctica, every answer only deepens the mystery. This is not just the story of a frozen continent. This is the story of what we are not meant to see. Scientists drilling into the seabed around Antarctica have discovered fossils of ferns, of tropical plants, even of creatures that should never have lived in a frozen desert. In 2017, a German team uncovered evidence of an ancient rainforest buried beneath the ice sheet in West Antarctica. Their analysis revealed something astonishing. 90 million years ago, Antarctica was a warm, lush world filled with dense vegetation and teeming with life. But the story doesn't end there. Even more recently, radar scans from satellites have revealed strange structures beneath the Antarctic ice. Perfectly geometric shapes, grids that seem too precise to be natural, patterns that look less like geology and more like architecture. Could it be that Antarctica once held not only forests and rivers, but civilizations? The idea may sound impossible, but consider this. The last time Antarctica was ice-free was around 12,000 years ago. That timeline matches the end of the last ice age and the flood myths spoken of in nearly every ancient culture. The Sumerians spoke of a great deluge. The Bible tells of Noah's flood. Ancient Egyptian texts hint at catastrophic floods that wiped away entire civilizations. The Greek philosopher Plato wrote of Atlantis, an advanced society that was swallowed by the sea in a single day and night. What if these stories all point to the same event? What if Antarctica was once home to such a civilization, one that flourished before the ice came and was entombed when the world changed forever? This idea has fascinated researchers, fringe scholars, and conspiracy theorists alike. Some believe the Piri Reis map, drawn in 1513, is the strongest clue. The map shows Antarctica's coastline, without ice. To this day, cartographers struggle to explain how a 16th century admiral could have drawn something only modern satellite imaging confirmed in the 20th century. Unless, of course, he was copying far older maps. Maps from a time when Antarctica was alive. The mysteries of Antarctica did not go unnoticed in the modern era. In the late 1930s, Nazi Germany sent expeditions to the continent. They claimed a portion of land, calling it New Schwabenland. Officially, the mission was about whaling and exploration, but behind closed doors, there were whispers of something darker. The Nazis were obsessed with ancient knowledge, lost civilizations, and hidden technology. Some within the regime believed that Antarctica held secrets left behind by an advanced race, or perhaps remnants of Atlantis itself. Conspiracy theories claim that the Nazis built hidden bases there, experimenting with advanced aircraft and weapons. After Germany's defeat in 1945, rumors spread that high-ranking officers had escaped to Antarctica, taking technology, and perhaps even knowledge, unknown to the rest of the world. It is here that the legend of flying discs over Antarctica begins, strange lights in the sky, unidentified craft moving at impossible speeds. When Admiral Byrd's Operation High Jump returned home suddenly in 1947, some connected the dots. Had Byrd's fleet encountered something in Antarctica? Had they discovered a secret the world was not ready to face? In the 20th century, some theorists began to connect these myths with Antarctica. They claimed the continent hid entrances to a hollow earth, vast caverns leading into inner worlds untouched by sunlight. Admiral Byrd himself, according to unverified accounts, allegedly wrote of flying into a hidden valley beyond the South Pole, where he saw forests, rivers, and even creatures that should not exist. These claims remain shrouded in mystery, but they added fuel to the fire that Antarctica was not what it seemed. In 1959, just over a decade after Operation High Jump, something extraordinary happened. 12 of the world's most powerful nations, including the United States and the Soviet Union, signed the Antarctic Treaty. At the height of the Cold War, when nuclear tensions threatened the planet, rival superpowers suddenly agreed peacefully that Antarctica would remain off-limits to military activity, territorial claims, or resource exploitation. Today, over 50 nations abide by this treaty. No oil drilling, no mining, no colonization, no digging deep into the ice without permission. To some, this is a remarkable example of cooperation. To others, it looks like a pact of silence. Why would world powers who compete over every inch of the globe agree so easily to lock away an entire continent? What is so important under the ice that no nation dares disturb it? On one hand, scientists tell us it is simply a frozen desert, lifeless, barren, and inhospitable. On the other, discoveries keep pointing to the possibility of lost forests, hidden lakes, unknown organisms, and perhaps even ancient ruins. Why then is exploration so restricted? Why are so many areas off-limits, guarded by treaties and regulations? Why do nations that fight over everything else agree unanimously to keep this one place untouched? Some say it is because of the resources. Antarctica contains unimaginable wealth, coal, oil, uranium, fresh water. If the ice melts, it will reshape the world's economy. Perhaps the treaty is meant to prevent chaos. But others believe it goes deeper, that what lies beneath Antarctica is not just wealth, but truth. A truth about our past. A truth that could rewrite human history. Was Antarctica once home to a civilization lost to time? Did ancient people map its coastlines before the ice came? Are there structures buried beneath the glaciers, waiting to be uncovered? Or does the truth lie deeper still, in the idea that Antarctica is not just the end of the Earth, but the gateway to another world? The questions remain unanswered. The evidence remains buried, and the silence surrounding the continent only grows louder. But one thing is certain: Antarctica is no ordinary land. It is a vault of ice, holding secrets too great to be revealed. Secrets about the past, secrets about the future, and perhaps secrets about humanity itself. Over the past few decades, scientists have sounded the alarm. Antarctica is warming faster than almost anywhere else on Earth. Ice shelves the size of entire countries are breaking away and drifting into the sea. Glaciers that have remained frozen for millennia are collapsing at unprecedented rates. To many, this is a story of rising seas, of coastal cities at risk, of climate change's devastating power. But to others, it is also something else. An unveiling, because as the ice retreats, it reveals things that should not exist. In 2017, researchers drilling through the ice of Lake Mercer found microbial life trapped beneath the surface for thousands of years. In 2020, satellites detected strange heat signatures beneath the ice sheet, suggesting geothermal activity, perhaps even hidden chambers. And in recent years, melting has revealed landscapes of mountains and valleys that no human eyes have ever seen. Some ask, what else will the thaw uncover? Behind the public announcements, there is also a quiet race unfolding. Nations around the world are increasing their presence in Antarctica, not just for science, but for something more. China has expanded its research stations. Russia has launched new missions. The United States maintains year-round bases, with advanced facilities and constant surveillance. Even smaller nations are claiming slices of the continent under the umbrella of the Antarctic Treaty. On the surface, this looks like cooperation, but beneath it, suspicions grow. If Antarctica is nothing more than ice and rock, why is it guarded so heavily? Why does every nation want a foothold there? And why, in a world where competition rules, do they all agree to keep its deepest secrets locked away? Most people don't know this. Not all of Antarctica is open to exploration. Yes, the treaty proclaims it a land of science and peace, but in practice, large swaths of the continent are off limits. Certain valleys, caves, and mountain ranges are restricted from entry. Flight paths are regulated. Unauthorized expeditions are turned away. When individuals or private groups have tried to explore beyond approved zones, they have often been stopped by military patrols or environmental regulations. It raises a chilling question: what exactly lies in those forbidden areas? Is it simply about protecting fragile ecosystems, or is it about keeping hidden something humanity was never meant to find? In recent years, leaks, rumors, and whispers have painted a strange picture of Antarctica. Some say that advanced technologies have been found there, machines buried under the ice, older than human civilization, devices that seem to defy explanation. Others speak of strange magnetic anomalies, satellites picking up signals that should not exist, energy sources buried deep below the ice sheet, pulsing as though alive. Conspiracy theories suggest these are not natural at all, but remnants of a forgotten age. Perhaps technology from Atlantis, perhaps even from beyond our world. Is it coincidence that whenever a strange discovery is reported in Antarctica, it quickly disappears from headlines? That researchers who stumble upon anomalies often go silent, or their findings are quietly dismissed? It seems the deeper we look, the more resistance we encounter. One of the most puzzling aspects of Antarctica is the military shadow that looms over it. Officially, no military operations are allowed under the Antarctic Treaty. Yet, nations maintain surveillance, satellite monitoring, and rapid response capabilities around the continent. US Air Force planes frequently fly missions to and from bases. Russian nuclear-powered icebreakers patrol the Southern Ocean. Communications around the continent are tightly controlled. For a land of peace and science, Antarctica feels more like a secured vault, a vault guarded not just from outsiders, but from discovery itself. As the ice melts, humanity faces a choice. Do we push deeper, searching for answers, determined to uncover whatever lies beneath, or do we heed the silence, leaving Antarctica untouched, respecting its forbidden veil? The stakes are higher than they appear, because if there truly are ancient ruins, unknown technologies, or even civilizations buried under the ice. Their discovery would shake the foundations of human history. It would challenge everything we think we know, about where we come from, about who we are, and about what our future might become. And if such technologies are found, would they be used for the good of all, or hidden away, hoarded by the powerful, turned into weapons, or locked forever from the public eye? Some believe this has already happened, that discoveries have been made in Antarctica, discoveries so monumental that they were instantly classified. Whistleblowers have spoken of massive structures, of ancient cities, even of preserved beings encased in ice. Photographs leak, then vanish. Reports surface, then are discredited. The pattern is always the same: silence. A silence louder than any denial. If true, then Antarctica may already have revealed its secrets to a select few, and the rest of us are kept in the dark. It is the last untouched land, the final frontier of Earth itself. And it is a reminder, a warning that some truths remain hidden for a reason. Perhaps Antarctica is forbidden not because of its emptiness, but because of its fullness. Not because it is barren, but because it is overflowing with history, mystery, and power. And as the ice continues to melt, as nations continue to circle, and as whispers turn into revelations, one thing is clear: the forbidden continent will not stay silent forever.